Welcome to Your City Connections, where you get to meet entertaining and informative guests. Guests such as an artist with a brush or with a camera, and guest with a violin. City Connections, providing insightful interviews with favorite son Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb. To city commissioners, the mayor. Interviews with a rodeo queen, to beauty queen, and even a NBA player.
Welcome to City Connections. My special guest today is an Enid resident and local artist, Duron Lewis. All right, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know that you're a Mississippi native. You've lived in Illinois and California, and now you're here in Oklahoma. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, I was raised in Mississippi, and I lived there for up to my teens. Then I left and moved to Chicago. From there, I moved to Minnesota, and I stayed there for like 3 or 4 years. And then I moved home when my dad died. And after that excursion, I moved to California for 15 years. So I'm glad to be here.
Now the big question, what inspired you to become an artist?
Well, my dad was the biggest inspiration. I remember coming into the house when I was like 10 years old, and I saw a picture of my mother on the mantle, and I thought a camera took it. And I asked him, I said, Dad, who took this picture of Mom? He said, oh, boy, I drew that. And I just, just melted, you know. I couldn't believe it because it looked so real. And so I just went and got some paper, writing paper, you know, school paper, and sat down and pretended I was watching the news with him. And before the news was off, I finished him. And I showed it to him, and he said, boy, you're pretty good. You know, so I just continued from that forward on, you know.
Okay. Now I know you've been very busy since you moved into the Enid community. Mm-hmm. Now I remember when we both were teachers at a local private school. You were doing the visual art and I was doing music art. Now my kids were in your class, and some of the other music students were in your class, and they learned a lot. And it's like this picture here I have. Now that picture my son drew of me. It was a younger photo, and then this one, Allison Ramsey, one of the students, also drew. And I attribute that to you teaching them art, you know, and I really appreciate it because the arts just can open up a mind and the creativity of a kid. So,
right.
Now, can you tell me how that teaching experience was for you?
Well, it was pretty exhilarating, you know. I was very happy to be able to teach children, you know, some facets of art. And to me, just because it's called art doesn't mean that you're just sketching people, you know, or still life. That's the future, because, you know, you have to have roads, you have to have bridges built, you have to have buildings designed, and it is the source. Art is the source of these architects and designers of automobiles and things of that nature. So anything that deals with art, you know, is very important for children to have it. So, you know, I think that it's a great contribution to have children, you know, doing art. So
I agree that, you know, engineering starts off with art, and then you're also in construction, right?
Yes.
You're in construction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I remember you having several art exhibits here for the local community to help other nonprofits. I recall one where even the students you had the students at the school also part of it. And you also did a mural for the library. Can you tell me about some of these art exhibits you've done?
Yes. A couple of years ago, I featured a 75-piece exhibit for the nonprofits like Hope Outreach, I think Catholic Charities, the St. Jude's Children Research Center out of Memphis, Tennessee, and I wanted to contribute something to society and give back to help others. And I think it was a great feeling for me to be able to be there for them. And I think that we all need to contribute something back to society. So I just wanted to be different, be a different artist and give back along with my producing the art.
Now, what inspired you to do the mural, and what were the dimensions of it?
Well, that goes back when I first moved here. Excuse me. I heard about the land run, and I didn't know anything about the land run, so I went on the internet and researched and saw the establishment, the people who came to make claims, staking out the land and stuff. And when I was a kid, I used to watch Westerns, with my dad, so that fascinated me, and I just took some pictures with my phone and started sketching, and I believe I talked with you regarding that, and I didn't know that the city was looking for art when I was doing this thing. And it's a two-piece set, top and bottom. It is all the pieces are screwed together, small ones and large ones, in order to get the design of the boundary of the city. And I just progressively placed the history of Enid on it. And the former senator of Oklahoma came by, Norman Lamb. He came by to take a look at it and got me in contact with his son, who is the lieutenant governor of the state. And it wasn't geared toward Oklahoma City, so we refocused back to Enid, and Enid purchased it.
Okay. Now, what inspires you to give back to the community? What inspires you to do that?
Well, as I was growing up, my dad was a mayor, and my granddad, being a U.S. Marshal, my grandmother, she was the treasurer of the, small city. I used to farm maybe about 5 gardens, large ones, when I was growing up, about 8 years old. And we had grocery store and gas station, things of that nature, laundromat and clothing store. I used to watch my mom and my dad put food and clothing at our door and allowed the citizens to come and just choose what they wanted. They was givers. So, it was just innate pretty much for me to give back. So I'm moving the legacy on of giving back.
Okay. Now, in addition to the library mural, the mural that you did that's placed in the library, you also did one for the Enid Fire Department. Well, you did a sketch for the Enid Fire Department.
Yes.
Now, why focus on firefighters?
That's another thing that one year, I think it was in 1973, me, my 2 younger sisters, and my dad, we went to Chicago to visit our relatives. And at that particular time, he was a mayor still. He got off the CTA, the transit, and he fell to the sidewalk and into a heart attack. And the fire department was the first to get to him. And, they administered their, professional help and got him to the hospital. So the mayor, which was Richard J. Daley at that time, heard of a visiting mayor in the hospital with a heart attack. He paid, the city of Chicago paid for the entire medical expense. And I just, wanted to continue giving back to the firefighters, because one thing about the firefighters, I know that they are going to be there. It doesn't matter, and they don't even care. These are some things that I know that they don't care about. They don't care about what race you are. They don't care about your age, what size you are, where you live, where you're going, or where you're coming from. They're going to be there. And, I think that we ought to, pay some contributions back to the fire department and show our appreciation, because in some cases they may even lose their life trying to save your property, let alone your own self, you know. And they leave behind children, parents, wives, relatives, you know, and friends, host of friends, you know, especially the family of the firefighters. So, you know, and they don't just come out to put fires out, you know. So I want to give back all over the country to these people.
Okay, very inspirational. If you're just joining us today, I have local artist and Enid resident Duron Lewis, but we'll have more after this. Welcome back to City Connections. My guest today is Duron Lewis, local artist. Now, Duron, we were talking about the mural that you did for the library and also for the Enid Fire Department. Aside from the things you've done in the Enid community, you also did one for the Chicago Fire Department, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, you travel all over the places. Tell us about some of the things, and you've also did something for the family of Harriet Tubman, the Harriet Tubman Museum. Can you tell me about some of the other things you've done out of state?
Yes. Well, and speaking of Harriet Tubman, who is a phenomenal woman, was a phenomenal woman, I did a fire painting of her, and I called the museum over there to let them know that I did have that, and I emailed it to them, a picture of it, and they fell in love with it. So they, you know, assisted me in getting there, and, you know, paid a few accommodations for me. And I did a demonstration of how I did it, and I met the mayor of Cambridge, Maryland, which that's where Harriet was born and was a slave. It was a great experience. I found out a lot of stuff that I really didn't know about Harriet Tubman. That was a long travel for her to get from Cambridge, Maryland to Pennsylvania with all of that water. It's hundreds of miles to go there, you know, and she traveled by foot. And when she traveled through the water, it came up to her chin. That's how deep it was at the shallowest part. So, you know, she was of great courage. And I just wanted to give back to her and her legacy. And I mean, I just found out that she was hit in the head, and she started having dreams and seizures, and that prompted her wanting to get free from slavery and get the other people out. A master threw an object at his own slave, but missed him and hit her. I think she was between 11 and 14 years old at that time. So it's a lot of information over there, you know, wealthy of history over there.
And as far as the Chicago Fire Department, what inspired you to do something for the Chicago Fire Department?
That's when my dad, you know, had that heart attack, and I wanted to give back for their servitude, you know, in the community of Chicago. Likewise here, Enid was the very first fire department that I donated something to. So they have the oldest piece of my art.
Okay. Now, you've been featured on Is This a Great State or What? Twice for the state of Oklahoma. How was that experience for you?
Well, it was real, you know, surreal in a sense. It was great. I enjoyed being on, you know, Channel 4, KFOR, and fortunate to get on there twice, along with, you know, being in the media, the newspaper at least 8, 9 times here. I was also televised in Arkansas, and I hadn't even visit that state yet. I had a friend to call me and tell me that I was on the news there. I think I was in some magazine in Arizona. I yet have to find it. And Alan Klepper, that's my main
radio.
Man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Alan.
Okay. As I look around your studio, I see pencil and pastel and, of course, fire painting. What other types do you do, and what can we expect from you next?
Well, I do charcoal.
Okay, sure.
I do ink. Just haven't produced any yet. The next medium that I've thought about, and is quite, I don't know, it's dust.
Dust?
Yes, the very dirt you walk on, I'm going to use that as a medium to do art.
Okay.
It's quite different.
Love to see that. Okay. All right. Well, if you're joining us, we have Duron Lewis, local artist. We'll be back after this with another special guest.
Look at you first. Yeah, I did a bird the other day.
Welcome back to City Connections. My guest today is Duron Lewis, and now joining us is Dominique Phillips, another artist in the Enid community. Okay, Dominique, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where I was born, raised, and am now. That's also where the roots of me being an artist has stemmed from. So I'm a student in school. I work 2 jobs, and my passion and love is art. So that's what I do.
Okay. So what's inspired you to become an artist?
It definitely chased me down. I wasn't until I was about 16 years old in high school when an art teacher of mine just happened to scoop me up and really show me that I had a talent in art. And from there, it just was a domino effect. It came very quickly for me, the art and skill of it. So
Okay.
she was inspiring.
Now, tell us about the type of art you do.
So I do a lot of portraits is what the foundation, so that goes along with being a expressionism and realism art. So doing a lot of that. I also branch off into just doing some abstract work and things like that. So.
Okay, very good. Now, you guys are going to have a combined effort that you're going to be doing a mural for the Enid Police Department. Can you guys tell me about what roles you'll play in that mural?
Well, the role that I will play is strategically placing each subject where I think that it should go, because it's going to be a progressive type mural. It's going to include maybe some badges of old and a 3-wheel cycle that they had on the police department. So it's going to be strategically placed, all the subjects on there.
Definitely, and I know we're both talented in just the area of bringing realism to art, bringing what's realistic in our world and make it expressing that with our art. So that's definitely something that we're collaborating and working on to bring that to this mural. It's a really awesome mural. So.
Okay. Now the mural, what type of medium will be used in order for it?
I know there will for sure be charcoal and pencil with that medium.
Yes, it will be a mixed medium of charcoal and pencil. I would like to make sure that, you know, in this project that her expert, you know, art techniques will be expressed on this mural, and she bringing some good stuff. So, you know, I'm proud to have her to help me along with this project.
Okay. Now, what are the dimensions for this particular mural is going to be?
Well, so the mural is 5 feet tall and it's 90 inches wide. So,
Big.
yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Yes, a lot of work.
It'll be fun to tackle.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of work.
Now, so I guess you're going to be using different expressions in the painting. You say you're going to be using realism, and then it's just going to be.
So basically, just capturing really the tone, the aura of, you know, faces, like the motorcycles, just the history, the foundation of Enid, really, just in making sure that that is expressed as well as it can be with both of our talent. So.
Yes.
Now, what is the expected date? How long do you think this mural is going to take you guys to do?
I'm looking at maybe the spring of next year, perhaps, because she work and I work too, you know, and doing this type of work is tedious, and it takes a while to complete. If we were totally working on art, I would say by the end of this year we'll be finished, but it takes a lot of erasing. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I definitely look forward to the finished piece. So you have to contact me and let me, you know, see it when it's finished. So, and thank you, Dominique, for
Thank
being my
you.
guest. Thank you, Duron.
Once again.
All right. And thank you, viewers, for watching on City Connections. Join us next week or another time to watch a different artist or a different person with a different talent.